So I screwed up. Hey guys, it's Josh McKinney, the host of the I Suck at Jiu Jitsu show, American Jiu Jitsu Black Belt. And I always plan episodes so far ahead for you guys. And today, Thursday, Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to anyone celebrating it, to my absolute legends in the United States of America, celebrating the greatest holiday. I mean, top three greatest holidays. But what happened was I don't have an episode for you guys today. And not only that, I'm running behind on all sorts of other things. And so I decided I was going to need to stack my tasks for the day. We are going to stack our thank you notes with the I Suck at Jiu Jitsu show. Some of you guys know I'm a pretty analog guy. He says to his $1,000 camera while sitting at his microphone and looking at the screens and lights facing him. I'm a pretty analog guy when I'm not doing the podcast. I would rather not use my phone. I'd rather not use my computer if possible. And so I'm old school with some things. And one of the things is I like to send thank you notes. And so while we're here, I just think we can talk about the thank you notes. I'm telling you, they're going to fit. You guys are going to appreciate them. Let's just get into it. So first one, I just want to send a thank you to that hair in my mouth during practice last night for allowing me to play another round of my favorite game of Guess Whose Hair This Is and where on their body it came from. Jiu-jitsu's disgusting, right? Right. We appreciate that, right? There was, at the old gym, we really, I swear to you, we keep things clean. As clean as you can keep them in a jiu-jitsu school, on the mats at least. I don't care about the other stuff. But on the mats, we keep the mats as clean as you can keep a jiu-jitsu school. But at the old school it was just a different situation, guys. It was not a place built for a jiu-jitsu school. It was so hard to keep clean. We had so many people in just an obnoxiously, now that I'm just not a 21-year-old business owner, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, we're so lucky that people didn't die because there was no space. People were rolling really hard on top of each other, into walls, onto the ground, onto concrete, through the chairs. It was a war zone. We did what we had to do, but very hard, not hard to spray and mop the mats, but very hard to keep the amount of body hair off the mats. When you're the coach and you're the person who has to experience that, and your job as the owner of the business is to make sure that there is something that protects your customers from this. Your job is to tell your customers hey, I'm trying to avoid, our mats are always clean, right? You avoid saying things like, yeah, we really, 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 really have to work hard to keep our mats clean. It's really, really hard. It's because you guys are so freaking gross. You and all your little pals that you're doing jiu-jitsu with are so gross. And so, yeah, you make the mats gross. Hair gets into your mouth. That observation, my brother trained jiu-jitsu for a couple months, and that was one of the main observations that he made was, he's like, it's this weird game that you play on the way home. And I was like, oh, when you're thinking about what happened? And he goes, no, when you're guessing whose pubic hair is in your mouth. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I try to not play that game. I don't know. So keep your mouth closed. There's no way to solve it, I suppose. Let's go on. I mean, now you just have to mop, vacuum 10 times a day. I've seen people have Roombas, but the amount of Roombas can't keep up with the amount of hair. You can get a Roomba for like the biggest dog. You can get a Roomba for Beethoven, but there's no way that it is not going to get destroyed in the first couple days with how much hair you're having to deal with. I have to take, I know I'm going way too deep into this. I have to take razor blades and cut just the ropes of hair along the vacuum, like literally twice a month, or else the vacuum will just not work at our gym because, and we don't even have a female class. We don't have a ton of chicks. These are just dude hairs, and it's a terrible thing. The jiu-jitsu business quit. I'm not thankful for that. You'll find that there's a lot of sarcasm built into all of these. Number 2. The jiu-jitsu mats are really gross if you really think about it. I try to not think about it. I've actually run into this problem of writing commercials for my friends at Sports Hygiene. It's so hard to write commercials because if I just really am honest with people and we all just sat for a second and we think about how gross the jiu-jitsu mats are, we marinate on that thought in the same way that we marinate on all of the body fluids of our friends. And then you hear about a product from Sports Hygiene. You hear about their product, Full Guard. And you hear about this idea of hypochlorous acid and how it can literally kill ringworm, it can kill staph, and it is good for your skin biome. And this idea that there is a spray that you could literally spray on in between rounds to protect your body from the grossness of the jiu-jitsu mats is unbelievable. And it just so happens that they love the I Suck at Jiu-Jitsu show and want to give a promo code to you guys, and that is promo code I Suck. And so at checkout, when you are getting your case of Full Guard to just douse your body in because of how gross the mats are, be sure to use promo code I Suck at checkout. Let's get back to the episode. Thank you to the timer at my gym for moving slower than a snail when I'm in side control, and then magically speeding up the moment I was sparring and actually enjoying myself. So, this is a great story. I put this one in really early because I wanted to tell you guys this story. This is recently. This is the last 2 weeks. I was training, and I was training with some type of mouthy young kid. I don't even remember. Really, they all run together for me. So anybody born after 9/11, okay? So after September 11th, 2001. We can't communicate with each other. I don't like those people is what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's a problem. It's not racist, it's not their race. It's ageist. But I haven't run into one of them that I like. I have a 2-year-old. You know what I'm saying? Are you getting what I'm saying here? It's just they come from a different world. Anyway, I'm rolling with, and so then they all just blend as the same person. They all say the same things. Unk. What's up, Unk? What's up, Unk? Bruh, huzz, Unk. You know how these kids are. And it's horrible. It's horrible. So as somebody who is still able-bodied and who was born pre-9/11, who actually understands what the world was like before that, who understands what the world was like before phones, cell phones and the internet. Cell phones as we have them, and the internet as we have it. It's my job to crush those post 9/11 kids. That's my job. And so it sounds harsh. It sounds like, well, why would you do that? They're kids. No, they're not. They're not. Think about how old they're 24 and under. These are not kids. This is the future of our country. This is the future of the world. And they're acting this way. We got to beat them down, right? And so that's what I try to do, and that's what I try to encourage from my team. I quickly adapted to the Masters division because I realized, like, oh, we're all 90s kids. We're all likable. Well, at least a lot of us are. And so anyway, back to the story. There's this kid, and he's talking trash. We're going back and forth, so I'm beating him down. And he's taking his beating like a man. You got to commend some of these kids, at least the ones that train at my gym, the ones that survive. They learn to take their beatings like they should be, right? So he's eating his pressure or whatever, but I'm running out of time, and I notice it. And people are like yelling for him and coaching him, but no one's really yelling the time. And I've got him in like double underhook mount, mother's milk pressure. Okay. And, I'm crushing this kid's soul. I swear. I think his head's off the mat. I have like both forearms under his head, and he's like scooting, and he's almost about to run into the wall. Well, currently of head nod, we have some dangerous hazards that you shouldn't have. And one of them is we have an extension cord plugged in where the timer is. And if that gets bumped completely and it falls out, well, I mean, it's never shocked somebody, but I'm sure it could do that too. But if that gets bumped, it usually shuts off the timer. It doesn't make any noise. The timer just loses power. So there's literally 2 seconds left on the clock, and he's not going to tap to this pressure. I pressure tap post 9/11 kids all the time. I know how much time I need. I need about 8 more seconds. And so to get those 8 seconds, I unplug the timer and just keep the screw. It wasn't like I bumped it. I reached out with one arm like 2 feet and just grabbed it really quick and pulled it out, and then went back to the hug. And all my guys are then cheering at this point, right? We understand. We know the game. The game is the game. And it doesn't matter that we agreed to a 5-minute round. If you don't realize, because you allowed me to get into double underhook mount with a mother's milk on you, you don't realize that? You can't hear anything? That sounds like it's on you. Shouldn't be there, right? So I did what I had to do in that situation, and I did it for anyone born before 9/11. You're welcome, guys. Let's get to the intro of this episode.
I suck at Jiu Jitsu. How do I suck less at Jiu Jitsu?
I guess to suck less.
Ladies and gentlemen, the diabolical leader of the Headlock Squad.
Now it's time for the third thank you note. Thank you to the black belt father who has a 6-month-old. Thank you for coming in once every 3 weeks, full of carbs and hate. We know you're only here to take out your frustrations on annoying blue belts, and we support that. It happens to us all, and it's really a sad fact of life. Children ruin jiu-jitsu, just like they ruin everything. But they ruin it in the weirdest way. They ruin it in this way that you kind of appreciate. That you're like, I know my life is ruined, but I would hate to go back to whatever life I was living before having this child. But your jiu-jitsu's ruined. But here's the thing. If you're a black belt and this happens to you, this would happen to me. You have this baby, you don't sleep anymore. You just don't have the time to train. You don't have the energy to train. Every time you do want to train, it's not like your wife can train. She's upset. She's like, hey, this isn't fair. And to be fair, it's not. But I wasn't the one who had the baby. I wasn't the one who let me knock you up, It's on you. I shouldn't let me do that. But Oh gosh, I shouldn't have said that. But when don't even know where I'm going. But when you go in and you are that dad and you're getting to train, it's like even though you're out of shape, even though you're going to get swept when you shouldn't, even though things are going to happen when you shouldn't, you do. I mean, like I said, everybody's making you a casserole. Everyone knows how much you're struggling. They're like, dude, what if we just gave you carbs? We just gave you carbs. You come in 40%, 50% heavier than you were 3 weeks before. Your jiu-jitsu's not bad. I know your cardio is not great, but it's not like your jiu-jitsu immediately suffers from that. It does over time, but there's something like when you're in shape and then you get that initial jump of about 30 pounds in a month. You know, you guys experienced that too when your wife had a baby, right? No, just me? Oh, well, when that happened to me, then I would come in, and when I would get to train, you know, you always get these young guys. I'm telling you, it's these purple belts that they're freaking born before, or they're born after 9/11. These 9/11 purple belts. They come in, they're arrogant, and they see that you're out of shape. And they're like, today's the day. Now I will be king. I'll be king of the castle. I'm gonna beat Josh today. And so what are you to do? You gotta crush them. What would your son or daughter at home want you to do? Dad, you gotta rule the castle. And so that's all this black belt that I just sent that thank you note to. That's all he's doing. He's just letting people know, hey, don't forget about me. I still, I would say every 9 months, Eric Hebner comes into my gym and beats everybody up, comes in a couple days later, teaches a class, and then I don't see him for 9 months. He just has to let everybody know. He has to remind everybody, I'm still the boss. This is what I do. This is my place. And I don't know. I just accept it. I try to not get in the way of that. Okay. Now it's time. I got an important thank you note to send out. This is going to be confusing because I'm sending it to a specific person, but I think a lot of you are going to assume that I'm sending it to somebody from your gym, or that I'm even sending it to you. So let's do it. Thank you to the Here's How You Should Have Submitted Me guy. You're the only reason that anyone at our gym has any skill at all. Your teaching is legend. I have no idea why coach won't promote you to brown belt. It's definitely not your personality and that you're a douchebag. Hope you get promoted next year, but you probably won't. Whew. You know that guy. In the fully extended arm bar right before he taps, he goes, if you turned your hips counterclockwise at a 30-degree angle from the sun, I would have tapped already. And you're like, what? And then you hip in a little more and he taps and he goes, see, you're welcome. I just fixed your arm bar for you, bro. Like, I also let you get to mount too, so you could hit that arm bar because I'm teaching today. You didn't know, but coach actually privately, he asked me if I should so this is what happened. I went to coach and I said, hey coach, I am this amazing purple belt. I'm probably the best purple belt ever. I know I've never proven my skill. I know I've never taught anyone ever in my life, but I'm so sure that I am the best jiu-jitsu coach ever. Because sometimes I take the things that you teach me and I say them to other people and it works for them. And so I'm obviously the greatest jiu-jitsu coach of all time. And so what I need from you is I need to just be recognized as the full-time head coach, and I'll run all the classes, and then you'll pay me $100,000 a year, and I'll take care of that for you. Does that sound good? And then the coach goes, no, Brad, nobody likes you here. I don't like you. No. Actually, I forgot, Brad. You pay yearly membership all at once, and you pay for your wife and your 3 kids. Actually, Brad, no. Here's the thing. You're going to be our secret coach, Brad. You're going to be our secret coach. And so what you're going to do is you're going to allow people each night to catch you in submissions because you're so good. We don't need to worry about your training. You are so skilled. You're fine. And so you're going to allow people to catch you. And then when they catch you, if you feel like, hey, they should be finishing this submission in a half of a second and it's taking them like 2 seconds to finish the submission, you should immediately pause the round and adjust them and then tell them to finish, like tell them tap. It's like, oh, you got me because I taught you. And make sure that they know it was not a skill gap. You are the secret head coach. We know that guy, right? Let's move on. Thank you to the white belt girl who always knees me in the balls. I know that you apologized, but it's the 3rd time this round. You are not forgiven. Listen, I recognize that there are parts of the female experience of life that I will never understand or comprehend. But I need you. I need you to recognize that there are part of the male experience, a specific part of the male experience, that the female brain cannot comprehend. And it is getting kneed in the balls multiple times in a round. Multiple times. Once is accidental. Dude, we're trying to knee cut. We're fighting to the death. It happens. But when we're getting, like, when you've hit enough balls that you're getting close to a walk, that's too much. And so I just think that we should all acknowledge here now that, like, hey, if it's happened twice in this round, things need to change. We need to slow down. The position needs to change. Something needs to happen here. There is a problem. There is a problem that needs to be addressed. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that, here's what I'm trying to say. In a round, if because of my fault or my opponent's fault that is a male, I knee him in the balls, it actually hurts both of us. I actually am feeling it's light, but some physical pain talking about this. And guys are in their cars shaking their head. The problem is this episode came out on Thanksgiving. For whatever reason, this is the first time you decided to listen to an episode of the I Suck at Jiu Jitsu show with your family. You threw it up on the TV on YouTube. You're like, I always listen on Spotify, and I've given a 5-star review there, so might as well throw it up on YouTube for everybody. Throw it up on the old Roku for everybody, and Josh will make my family with his cheery PG humor. He'll just make my family laugh on Thanksgiving, and it's going to be great, and then everyone's going to start doing jiu-jitsu. And instead, he lectured us about kneeing each other in the balls. It's a wild world we live in. Whew. Let's take a quick commercial break. I need to get some ice. Yo, so I got a new gi. It's really, really sick. Datsusara just sent me their fun gi number 2 and has a color stitching that I've never really seen before. It just, the gi looks really cool. The obviously whatever artist they had design it took special care on this, and it's just such a unique design. I have worn it twice now, and I have probably gotten 20 different comments on the gi. Everybody's like, hey, why is this shiny? Can I touch this? Can I put on your gi top? Can I choke you with this a little bit? And so it's definitely been the talk of the town. Only problem I had is I trained in it the other day, jump in the car. It's like one of the last nice days of the year out. And so I got the windows down, jump in the car, still gi on, still sweaty. I got leather seats, no big deal. And I'm going to drive home. And on my way home, I ended up having to roll up the windows because women were literally just trying to jump in to the car because they were so impressed by this Datsusara gi. And so if that interests you, if being, the coolest looking person on the mat interests you, being in one of the most comfortable gis that there is interests you, be sure to check out Datsusara. Be sure to check out dsgear.com and use promo code I suck at checkout, and you'll get 10% off of your gi, your backpack, whatever you want from them. But be sure to check them out. Thank you to the Conspiracy Theory Purple Belt. After one round with you, I now know for sure that I'm not the crazy guy at the gym. Here's the problem for that one. For me, once I find the crazy conspiracy purple belt in any situation, not just in jiu-jitsu, but once I find the crazy conspiracy guy, I tend to gravitate towards him or her. Once people start to hit me with conspiracies, yes, of course, I'm going to do research later, and I'm going to be like, oh, that wasn't true. But in the moment, I never, and you guys have heard me on the podcast, a lot of interviews, people say stuff that I don't agree with. People say stuff that was just blatantly not true. I'll never interrupt and be like, nah, that's wrong. I mean, unless I felt like it would help the conversation or would help the person. I like, oh, cool. You think that? Keep telling me. Tell me more about it. And I want to know that perspective because of the question, when you get a crazy conspiracy, because I know we all believe there's no one that doesn't believe in any conspiracy, right? There is, or at least, so I used to have this personal training client, and he was the first person to ever tell me about the flat earth theory. It wasn't from jiu-jitsu. It was from this 50-year-old dude that had a really good job. And I was just shocked. I think he was just looking for anybody to talk to about it. And then you go, oh, this guy was stupid. That's what it was. And he goes, no. He's like, he goes, I don't believe in it. He's like, I research it. It's really interesting to me. He goes, I'm 18%. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I believe in it 18%. And I was like, so you 82% think it's fake? He's like, yeah. And I was struggling to comprehend this because in the world that we live in now, it is you have to be 100% into something or 100% out of something or you're evil, right? And it was a really interesting perspective though. And I was like, 18%. And then every once in a while, months would go by. And he would be like, hey, I saw a video on YouTube yesterday. And I'd be like, yeah? He'd be like, 19%. 19%. And I would be like, oh my gosh, something else would happen. And he'd be like, Josh, I got bad news. Like, what? He's like, I'm down to 5%, dude. He's like, maybe 3% even at this point. And to me, the conspiracy thing is so much fun if you look at it that way and you don't base your life on it. Because it's also I don't care, generally speaking, about most of these conspiracies. I'm very interested in them and I can research them. It's so funny because, like I said, so many people are in on conspiracy theories. It's fun for them. They love to talk about them. And so my wife's friends or my wife's family will be over, and the thing we start to connect on would be some type of conspiracy theory. And I've heard them all. It's just something that is interesting to me. And so we'll talk about it, and we'll talk about it for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, have a great conversation about it, laugh a bunch about it, whatever. Leave. A couple weeks later, my wife will tell somebody, oh yeah, Josh believes in that. And I'll be like, holy smokes. You think that I believe in that? I'm like, babe, you don't know me at all. She's like, well, you were talking about it. You knew so much about it. I'm like, it's fun. It's fun. I don't think that that's true. I'm like, I think it's actually way worse than that. I think it's a way bigger conspiracy. It was just your family wasn't ready for that because it was Thanksgiving. And so they weren't ready to know who was the real bad guys and everything. They weren't ready to know. And so, but I still told them. And so here is the thing about the conspiracy guy. He's at every gym. And he's a blast. I'm telling you, he's the most fun guy. When I found the conspiracy guy at my own gym, I could tell that when we started to talk about stuff, that he was like, Josh is going to be mad at me for believing these things. And I was like, dude, finally, I have somebody that's going to listen to the 5-hour podcasts for me that I go, yeah, I'm not that interested in this. I don't believe in it that much because I know he's all in. And then he's going to bring me a bunch of fun facts. I'm going to get to hear all about it. Man, if you just stop taking yourself so seriously, you would enjoy so much more of life. I have a podcast. I don't know if you know this, but I have a podcast I do every Thursday where I never take myself seriously. And the amount of people that appreciate that, I mean, it's been surprising to me, but it's amazing. It is like on my list of thankfulness things, for real thankful things, for real thank you notes. It's to you guys. It's to people that just listen every Thursday. And with that, it's like if I was trying to be something I'm not, and I was trying to be this caricature of what ChatGPT would tell me the perfect Jiu Jitsu presenter would be, I wouldn't be me. And so, I think that the same thing with things that interest you. You're allowed to be interested in creepy conspiracy theories, and you're allowed to. I'm not a murder. What is that like? True crimes person, but if you're into that, and you're a super weirdo that's into that, and a freak that I don't want to be around, be into that, right? And if you're in on the conspiracy things, let me know the best ones. I'm always down. Conspiracies make the best conversation starters, best topics to go with. Unless you like, I don't know, like no magic or something like that. Best icebreaker is like, what do you think about aliens? Be honest with me though. Be honest. You really, because everybody's got a thought, right? I don't know. Tell me your guys' favorite conspiracy theory in the comment. Instead of telling me what you're thankful for because it's Thanksgiving, I really don't care. You guys don't care what I'm thankful for. You don't care that I'm thankful for you guys. But let me know some crazy conspiracy theories. Let me know. Give me some, and then let me know the percentage that you're in on it. You don't got to be 100% on it, but if you're 100%, I really want to know. This is my favorite one. Obviously, I'm going to let you guys in on a secret. I am not just coming up with these things off the top of my head. I wrote this episode. I did prepare for this for 6 weeks, as I always do. But this is my favorite one that I wrote. Thank you to the phrase, just don't get there. This phrase is correct 100% of the time, but sadly, it takes 20 years of experience and dedication to actually understand that. Just don't get there, bro. Coach, I'm getting triangled a lot. Stop. Why is that so hard? Don't get triangled a lot. Stop. Why are we still talking about this? I can't believe we're still having this conversation. I told you last week, stop getting triangled. Don't get there. Am I speaking Chinese? This is American Jiu Jitsu, bro. And you just don't be there. It's the only advice. Oh, well, how is that? This is what I'm saying. Why did you get triangled? That is the question. Why were you there? If you can't answer that, it's a problem in your understanding. That is how you know. That's how you can go solve problems on your own, is by saying, well, he had my collar and sleeve, and he had his foot in my hip. What would have happened if he didn't have your sleeve? I don't know. Let me go try. Coach, I still got triangled. Okay, that wasn't it. What would happen if he just didn't have your collar? Coach, he grabbed my other sleeve. I still got triangled. Okay, that's not it. What would happen if you freed your elbow knee space like I tell you to do all the time and you got his foot out of your hip? Oh, coach, he didn't triangle me anymore. That's what it means. It means take some steps back and figure out why you were there. You shouldn't be there. Obviously, the triangle is like the hardest example to give, right? It's hardest for people when in a quote unquote neutral position where we both have offense and we both have defense. In a position like that, it's hardest to go like, oh, this is what you should have prevented. But like, let's say you're getting armbarred from mount on bottom. Don't be there. That is the defense. You shouldn't worry about the late stage defense right now. The late stage defense is for people who have layers of defense. You don't want late stage defense to ever be the only defense that you have. It just doesn't make sense. You'd be only relying on that. And not only that, it's like, it's where things are at the most risk. As a new person, you can do late stage defense as somebody who's trained arm bars for a long time, where your arm is pretty much extended, where it's very close to being finished, and still completely escape. And if you get really good at it, even feel safe escaping those positions with guys that have great arm bars. But the problem with it is, if I teach that in a class and you are a white belt and you go, okay, well, now I have that knowledge. That's all I need to do to defend arm bars. You're not addressing the fact that your guard is getting passed. You're not addressing the fact that you're getting put from side control to mount. You're doing nothing about it. You're not addressing the fact that you're in mount. Your hands are not in between you and your opponent. They're just flailing around all willy-nilly. You're not addressing the fact that he got under your armpit. You're not addressing the fact he got too high in mount. You're not addressing the fact that then his leg went over your head. These are all different individual movements that he has to accomplish to get to this mounted armbar, right? You're not addressing the fact that then you clasp your hands and you sat there. Then he extends your arm and finishes. And you are saying to me, you are coming up to me, and as whatever belt you are, arguing with me, the president of American Jiu Jitsu, and saying, oh, well, teach me this. No. That's not what you need to learn. Because let's say that I teach you late stage armbar defense and you somehow grasp it. All of those other things are still going to happen. You are still going to be in mount, and then you're going to get cross collar choked because we didn't work that defense. So let's say we defend cross-collar choke. Well, did we defend a way of defending cross-collar choke that prevents them from just switching back to the armbar? Instead, what if your guard didn't get past? We're not getting mounted armbarred. What if it was really hard for them to get from side control to mount on you without you just getting back to half guard and escaping? You're not getting mounted armbar. What if even one step further, what if it was just hard for them to get their leg in front of your face to do the armbar? And you just really did a good job of preventing that. You used your free hand, you used your head height, you used your shoulder pinched between your ear, anything you could to prevent that leg from coming over your head. We prevented the mounted armbar. Don't get there. Don't get there. Thank you, don't get there. You are the most underappreciated phrase in jiu-jitsu and the only advice that is any good. That's the new tagline for American Jiu Jitsu. I just decided. Also, shout out, you guys check out this cool American Jiu-Jitsu shirt. This is not one of mine. This was just sent to me. BJJswag.com sent this to me. I'll post the actual link to this specific shirt or tag it in this description for this episode. But in case you were wondering, while we're throwing around American Jiu-Jitsu propaganda, I like the thick, like they said acid washed is the new tie-dye. And I'm a big tie-dye guy, so I was cool with that. I went with it. Where the heck was I? Okay. Ooh, this is gonna hurt feelings. Thank you to the I got screwed by the ref guy. Your ability to avoid both hard rounds and accountability is legendary. Listen, you didn't get screwed. You suck. No one loves you enough on your team to actually tell you that. They see that you're emotional about it. They see you're logical about it. They see that you're not seeing the match that we all saw, which is that you weren't good enough to win. And it didn't matter that there was 2 seconds where you thought you had this and you didn't get it and blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. You lost. You allowed them to score points that they shouldn't have scored. You didn't score points that you needed to score. You didn't submit the person. You allowed them to submit you, whatever. It just doesn't matter. And it happens. Yes, it happens all the time. But one, refereeing is incredibly hard. I specifically do not do it because it is incredibly hard. The times that I've done it, you're just arguing with parents and you're arguing with coaches, and it's just the most obnoxious thing ever. So this is hilarious. One time, I think I've reffed 5 times total in my life. One of the times, I think I'm a brown belt at the time. This is the last time I actually reffed. I get put on the kids' mat at this tournament, and I'm going to be there all day. It ain't paying enough to be dealing with kids crying every single match and then their parents arguing with you. And then not only that, but like you're expected to then be telling people how the division should be run and how this and how that. And there's so much expectation. And then if whatever tournament you're at, they have their own rule set where they feel like they've solved jiu-jitsu. And they're like, oh yeah, I figured it all out. Yeah, this is the most exciting rule set. Like you didn't solve it. Just use the same standardized rule set. Just do that. It would be so much easier. But it's like, hey, there's only points at 3 minutes into the round on the 3rd Tuesday of each month. And so I'm like, wait, I don't understand why that has anything to do. Why don't we just do point? What are we talking about? And so, yeah, it's a really hard thing to be a ref. But anyway, I'm reffing at this tournament, and this guy, and he's a known coach. I won't tell you his name. But he says he's yelling about something, and he was definitely wrong about whatever it was. Some point thing. He's a known coach, but he's not a known coach of competitors. He's a known coach of a guy who owns a bunch of schools. But he's bringing some attitude of like, I'm around all my parents. I'm around all my students. I'm this tough guy. I don't know who this brown belt is. And keep in mind, this is I suck at jiu-jitsu, Josh. This is, when I didn't have to worry about anything I said because it could never be used against me in the court of law. And so, dude's yelling something obnoxious. I walk up to him, and I know that I know I'm right, and I know I have no emotion towards this because I had already mentally checked out. I'm like, I'm never doing this refereeing thing again. This is so stupid. But this dude's being obnoxious. What does he want? And he's trying to literally screaming at the top of his lungs. I'm probably 4 feet from him and telling me about how I'm wrong. I screwed over his kid. This kid worked so hard. I explained word for word the rule, and I was right. And he didn't have a good answer. And he said, do you know who I am? And I leaned in just a few inches and I go, do you know who I am? And he kind of backed up like, oh no, did I do something wrong? And he goes, no. And I go, good. And I turned around and walked away, and all of his crew laughed at him with me, his whole team. And it was so embarrassing for him, dude. It was hilarious though. And so, I know we use the term screwed by the ref. A lot of times ref just makes a mistake. Rules are hard. Sometimes it's your understanding or not understanding of the rules is why you're so mad anyway. So don't argue with a ref or claim that you were screwed unless you really understand the rule. And I mean, when I've had referees on the show and we've asked them about the rules, you can tell me, an IBJJF competitor, all the time, we're asking about IBJJF rules. I still don't understand the rules, and I feel like I know them very well. And so, there is so much to being a ref, and so be friendly to your refs, be friendly to them, and they didn't screw you. Don't avoid the accountability. Don't be like, oh, I got screwed, that's why I lost. No, you lost because you suck. If you look at it from that mindset, then you can try to fix why you suck. But if you look at it because the ref got me, then there's nothing to fix. What are you going to do? Let's take a quick commercial break. Hey guys, Josh here. I've been getting so much good feedback from the Rob Bernacki Instructional Jiu-Jitsu for Imbeciles that we have been giving away for free. But I have bad news. We're about to switch the free giveaway from our friends at BJJ Mental Models. And so if you have not gotten Rob Bernacki's Jiu-Jitsu for Imbeciles, this is a conceptual course on learning Jiu-Jitsu, and the amount of feedback that people have felt the need to give me. I didn't create this course, but still to tell me how much it has helped them has been so interesting. I mean, pretty quickly it made me go, oh, this is something that I should start to pay attention to even more than I realized. People love Rob Bernacki's way of explaining jiu-jitsu. And like I said, this is the last time we are running a commercial for this course. And so the next free giveaway is about to change in the coming weeks. But for right now, you can still get your free copy of Jiu-Jitsu for Imbeciles at bjjmentalmodels.com/I-suck. And be sure to check the link in the description and get in on that free course. Let's get back to the episode. Thank you to the guy who hot boxes blunts before every practice. Thank you for using your smell to hide the fact that 90% of the other people on the mat are also stoned. You could at least chew some gum. Little Axe body spray. I know you tend to bathe in it. I know you tend to use that to replace your showers. So why not hit some in the old mouth, you know? Hit some on the old tongue, wipe it off. Use a napkin. Makes sense, right? Something like that. I don't know. At least hide it. I always feel like if you were like to really get juiced up and then to be really, really aggressively like trying to tell people you're not, right? Like really trying to hide the fact that you're on steroids. I think it would be really funny if you did that and then you ate a bunch of donuts and stuff. So then you didn't have the most ridiculous physique. Like you really, really made it a point to try to have a little more body fat than you should. So you still get all the benefits, but just you're able to hide it a little more. Just like, yeah, I've just been in bulk, I've been bulking, right? So it's the same thing. Like just hide it a little bit more, You should at least keep me guessing. I should at least be like, I don't know. Maybe this guy's stoned. Maybe he's just stupid, right? That's a fun thing that jiu-jitsu coaches get to say. It's always interesting when I make a statement and you just maintain eye contact. And I can see you thinking, but I can also see that the thinking is just slow. And I'm like, oh no, is this how he always is? Like, I'm starting to hope like, trying to smell you. Like, I hope this dude is high, because the way he's acting, I hope this is just not what I'm going to have to deal with all of the time. Like, I hope this is a solvable thing. And it's hit or miss, it's 50-50. But yeah, the smell, just like with any of the other, I feel like, okay, this is on topic, it's off topic, but it's very obvious that a lot of people do jiu-jitsu stoned. It's very obvious. Like we said, we can smell it, right? You can interact, you can see it. Some people, I would assume you can't. But what about alcohol? Do people roll drunk? And I use the term drunk because, like, if you, I don't know, like, the term drunk is very, it's a loose term. Do you roll under any of the effects of alcohol, or do you know someone who does? Because I've always assumed, and maybe I'm dumb, maybe I just don't know how these things work. Like, if you were to drink and roll, would you roll better? Like, I know that there is a large group of stoners that are like, yeah, you roll better if you roll stoned. But are there other performance enhancing drugs, specifically alcohol? Because I will, you'll train with some people that we can both think that they drank a little too much the night before, and that's why they smell that way. But it's noon, and they look showered. Maybe they smell that way because they drank a little bit this morning for breakfast, whatever. I don't know. I don't care, but I'm just curious. I hate that it has to be this thing that then it's like, oh, well, it's morally wrong or it's morally right. I just want to know, if you're a safe training partner and you've been coming in drunk all the time, tell me in secret. I would love to know. I won't call you out specifically on the podcast, but I would love to have that information. Eventually, we're going to do, if you guys are interested, I always think of episode titles first. That's always the first thought for me, is like, what is this episode going to be called? What is the thumbnail going to look like? Because that really does dictate whether or not people watch it, no matter how good the episode, or listen, no matter how good the episode is. And so I have this episode I've been planning on for a while. I was going to wait 70 episodes from right now because that's funny. But I just don't know if I'll wait. I don't know if I'll do it before that, but no doubt I'll do it at some point. But it's going to be, the title of the episode is going to be, I tried every drug and did jiu-jitsu. And obviously that is not going to be the case. It's clickbait, but I will get your guys' stories. I'll get anonymous stories, and as many as I can, of people talking about their experiences trying specific drugs in jiu-jitsu, including specific types of steroids. It will be good, positive stories, bad stories. It will just be a mixture of all kinds of things. I'm sure it'll get flagged. I'm sure I can't monetize that episode, which is weird. But all that to be said, that's going to be a really interesting episode. And that's something I'm just curious about, is like, what are other people's perspective on this? And what is not just Josh McKinney's? Should maybe at the end of that episode, I'm like, man, you guys sold me. It's time to get on TRT. It's time to do the 31-year-old TRT thing and be super soldier Josh McKinney. He would be awesome. Be angrier Josh McKinney. I feel like I'm angry enough, guys. I don't think we should do that. Now let's go. Oh man, 3 more thank you notes left. This has been a pain in my butt. This is really, I'll never do thank you notes again. It's just like, it's a lot of writing. It's frustrating. You guys expected a good episode of jiu-jitsu. I'm out here writing thank you notes, not even giving you anything. I apologize, guys. Also, on the note of loving analog things, having a nice pen. I say this, if you're on video, you can see I have a beautiful Refine. I think it's called an EP1, E1, Refine EP1, I think it's called. But this one is the copper one. It doesn't look like copper because my fingerprints and smudges have made it not shiny, but you can polish these and do whatever because it's just one solid piece of copper that it's made out of. And having a cool pen though, having a good watch, these things, having a small notebook. I love having a notebook because then you don't have to rely on your phone as much for things. And the world is freeing when you're not relying on your phone. I'm going to give you a piece of advice, and I think a lot of weird things, and I usually keep them to myself, but I'll give you this one, and it's helpful for me to not be so screen addicted, and maybe it will be helpful for you. But there is this thought that I love to tell myself is that my phone is heavy, right? In a sense that, like, if I have to pick it up, it's like, oh, this is heavy. This is a lot to have to carry. And just have that thought process all the time of like, I feel my phone heavy in my pocket. I don't like it sitting in my pocket. Like if I'm sitting at the podcast, I would always reach down and literally pull my phone out and just throw it across the room somewhere, because that's the mindset. It's like, oh, it's weighing, it's so heavy in my pocket. It's weighing me down. But yeah, that really does. I don't know why the heck that I am on your phone being heavy and it helping you with screen time. Oh yeah. The analog stuff. But I love field notes too. Those things fit right in your fanny pack, fit right in your Datsu Sara fanny pack. And slide it right in with your really cool, I'm actually not sponsored by these guys, so do whatever pin you want. I just like these because everyone knows the best pin that you can buy is the Pilot G2. And honestly, like, fight me. I will fight you to the death. The gel pen Pilot G2s, those are just the smoothest riding, best pen. Actually, this one has a different version, but the other one of these refined pens, they use that same cartridge. So you can just buy those cheap cartridges and put it in your super expensive pen. And so, yeah, that's why I'm all in on those. But yeah, Pilot G2, field notes are great. I don't know where else I'm going with this. Let's get into our next thank you note. Thank you note number 10. Thank you to my belt knot. You came untied at the perfect time, my friend. Your boy was getting tired. Hey, don't show me hey Josh, have you seen this cool belt tie? Have you seen this cool belt tie? It never comes undone. Why? Why would I want that? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Show me a cool belt tie that comes undone whenever I push a button and it just falls off and I get instant rest. Show me that. The belt untie is a beautiful part of jiu-jitsu. When you're competing, there are times that you go with somebody that's trying to flee and get out of bounds because they're tired and they're trying to get rest. There are times you go with a guy that is trying to throw his belt off, same thing, trying to get some type of rest, fall out. You have his sleeve and he'll try to pull his arm out of his sleeve again to try to get rest, get the gi reset, right? And so you'll go with some people like that. But a lot of times in hard matches, you'll start to feel the guy lean towards the out of bounds, and you'll start to lean towards the out of bounds, and he'll keep leaning, and you'll be like, yeah, let's go out there. And then you'll untie his belt for him right before you guys step out, and then you're like, okay, good, we both get a 20-second break, right? And so these things are all part of the game. That's an interesting thing about jiu-jitsu competition is everyone thinks it's just the match. It's just that little situation. The game is the whole entire day. It's the day before when you decide whether or not you're going to rest. It's the experience when you weigh in. It's the experience when you warm up. It's the fact of whether or not you talk to your opponent or not. I recently saw a game of mental warfare at a tournament. I was coaching a guy and I saw him do this to another competitor, and I thought it was just absolutely 10 out of 10 genius. So they talked for a while, and I would rather have not chatted up my opponent before. I just don't like to do that. But these guys chatting it up, some people love that. They're just like their best friend in the world is the person that they're about to compete against. And they will leave their team to go hang out with the person that they're about to compete against. Not my vibe. But I'm watching a guy I'm about to coach. He's having this conversation with the guy, and then he says to the guy, yeah, man, and you don't got to worry. They were talking about wrestling and stuff, and he's like, yeah, man, you don't got to worry about me wrestling. I'm going to definitely pull guard on you. And I was like, why would you say that? And then there was like a 3 or 4 second pause, and then my guy says, I mean, but you never know. I could just come out and shoot a blast double on you. Ha ha. And then left. Like, that was the last interaction that they had before competing. And this guy, the other guy, doesn't know that I'm coaching. He doesn't, like, I'm just kind of standing in the room. I'm just hearing this interaction. And so he starts talking back to his friends. And I could tell, like, the mental warfare had begun. I'm like, oh, that was tricky. That was tricky. I liked that one. That was the old hit him with the old 1-2. You tell him I might shoot a blast double, I might pull guard, and then you go out and you flying scissor takedown low on his knee and injure him forever. And so let's move on. We have 2 thank you notes left. This one's should be a hot take. Thank you to Finger Tape. Thank you for helping me identify who is tough and who is a weak little weenie with baby fingies. Listen, this isn't a real man thing. This is just a real tough person thing. You don't tape your fingers unless you need to. You don't do it. Unless your finger is hanging on by a thread, don't start taping up. Take that time that you spend pre every class, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, warm up your grips a little, and do something else that will make you better at jiu-jitsu. Quit taping every finger. You're wasting all of our time. You're leaving 15 minutes early telling your wife, oh, I got to get there. Like, hey, honey, I'm learning how to protect us. I have to get to the gym. And she takes it seriously too. And she's like, of course, honey, go. You are our protector. You run out of the house, you get into your lifted truck, you drive to the gym, and then you proceed to tape every one of your fingers individually. As if a finger injury would stop you. Bro, if your finger breaks, you just keep doing jiu-jitsu. Toughen up. Break it off. Rub some dirt on it. You need grips? It sounds like you're terrible. Here's the thing. Finger breaks, yeah, then we tape it. But you don't. Quit wasting everybody's time, bro. What are you doing? This is just my opinion, And I mean the opinion of anyone that matters. Shouldn't tape your fingers unless there are some people you look at their fingers and you're like, I would tape those. But they are hanging on by a thread. But most people, they're just doing it to try to show that they worked hard at a time when they didn't. And I'm just not into it. But I can't finish on that take. Just too hot of a take. We will finish our thank you notes with I think the one that's going to hit the most people. I think this is, everyone is going to feel me on this one. Thank you to my gi drawstring. Thanks for disappearing into the him dimension right when class starts. I love that pre-class mini game that we play of me trying to fish you out while I'm standing in my gi top and underwear. Said, build a better mousetrap and the world will lead a path to your door. Figure out a way to solve the gi drawstring problem, and people are throwing money at you. You are the jiu-jitsu genius. You have solved the most troubling part of jiu-jitsu, the most annoying part of jiu-jitsu. And I mean, there is like current method. This has been method since I probably started jiu-jitsu. Obviously, this problem has gone on since the beginning of time, but current day method is you just take something. So like here, perfect. Found a Sharpie. There's always something this is the minimum length. Anything shorter than a Sharpie, not going to be good. And you need something thin like this too. Obviously, like the long part of a hanger broken, just that straight part of a hanger, that's the best thing. And so what you do is you take the finger tape that you don't waste all the time and put on your fingers, and you put the end of the drawstring to the end of your, in this case, Sharpie, and then you run your tape all the way along one, like the, tip to tip, I guess, you keep the tips touching. And so from there, now you can just push this part through and then reach, grab it on the other side, and pull it out. Obviously, some of you noticed that the Sharpie, I grabbed the tip of the Sharpie here, the lid would have come off. We would have just been all covered in Sharpie and not had the gi drawstring. This is science. This is not just something that I can explain to you guys over a podcast. The art of getting the gi drawstring through the gi, this is high level stuff. And I don't want to just hide it at the end. Maybe one day we'll do a full episode on how to restring your gi. But right now, that's the current method. That's the current science behind it. If you want to dedicate your life to it, like if you hand me a drawstring and a gi, two separate things, and you give me 5 minutes, I can do it by fingers. Nothing, just by hand. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, oh, dude, that's because you got those Asian fingers, bro. You have those like freaking, you're like being very, folding dumplings with your fingers. And that may be true. But I'm telling you, when you don't have a hanger, when you don't have a pin, and all you have is your bare hands, you need that skill too. How do you fix the drawstring? And to me, you just need practice. You just need to get reps. And you also have to know the orientation that the string goes. It really isn't intuitive, especially once a string comes out. It's always funny to see people be like, wait, which one should we be putting through? Which one should we be taking? Once you know, it's easy, but it is funny to see how much of a problem that is. It would just be so nice if there was a solution for this, especially a solution for this that was like competition legal, and had like no negative repercussions. Somebody should figure that out. Absolutely, for sure. But besides that, that's all I have for you guys today. Just thought I would do something fun for Thanksgiving instead of doing something super serious. I know people's routine changes on a day like this so much, and 80% of our listeners are in the United States. And so I just thought we would do something for that routine change and do something a little more fun, a little more different. And so if you guys like this format of the thank you notes that I stole from Jimmy Fallon, let me know. And maybe we'll do it again next Thanksgiving. But besides that, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. I hope that you guys are really getting motivated by the American Jiu Jitsu thing, getting excited about it, getting in on it, because I have a big push coming that if you're not excited about it, you're going to be. And besides that, I hope that today's episode helps you guys suck just a little bit less at Jiu Jitsu. Have a great day.